What's going on, guys? Welcome back out here in the garage. Got a couple boats on the table, and just wanted to say on that last video, shout out to the boat gang. You guys were awesome as far as just comments and suggestions, and you guys were all super helpful, and I appreciate it, man. It's a really cool group of guys, cool community, and glad to be a part of it. So got the Decepticon and I got the 36 single Geico. And so got them out here, got the Decepticon ripped apart. Obviously the front brace already ripped out. Got the motors out, got the servo out with my custom servo mount in there. That's what it looks like without the actual servo. And so you guys were super helpful. Someone suggested denatured alcohol. Another buddy suggested isopropyl alcohol. And someone else suggested just Dawn dish soap. And that's the winner because that's what we have. So I'm going to get some warm water with some dish soap, dump it in the boat, swish it around, wipe everything with a rag. I actually noticed most of the really bad smell was stuck in the pool noodles in the front. You know, those are very porous, so they really absorb the smell more than just like the fiberglass or the carbon fiber will. So yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the line on the Raider 150. I don't think it's anything we need to really harp on. In this video, I do want to test the right side motor just because I do think it's not out of the realm of possibility that this motor could have fried and then taken the ESC with it. So, and I want to reuse this motor. So I did check it out. The screws weren't too long, so they weren't in the windings or anything. It spins fine, and when I plug it into a Castle ESC, it arms. And so my buddy told me to do that, and the arming means that the polarity on it is correct. So there shouldn't be like any short circuits, but I am going to test it today with the other Raider just to make sure that motor is still good to use. And then from there, like I said, that's really it for me with the 150. I don't think we need to harp on it. What's done is done. It happened. Personally, I think that the boat, by the time I got the top off, it was still shorting and the lipo was draining. And so if you ask me that if I had to go get a recovery boat, right, and took an extra 6-7 minutes to get the boat back, in my opinion, that lipo would have drained, to a super low voltage, maybe puffed and caught fire. So anyway, that is what it is. The 150 is what it is. I was actually kind of surprised at how many of you guys had a similar experience or knew someone with a similar experience. So yeah, take it for what it's worth. I've recommended the ESC lots. I've never had a problem. But this is a big boat. It's a fast boat. And spoiler alert, it's getting castles, right? So working on that right now. I wanted you guys to see these two side by side because some of you either have the Geico or the Zelos or you're familiar with it. And so they're both 36 inches. The Geico does have an overhang in the back, if you guys can see, overhang, which means that the entire 36 inches isn't a wetted surface. Whereas this one goes to the trailing edge. So technically this is actually the bigger boat. And then as far as the height of it, the width of it, if you guys, just to give you guys context, because I'm sure you haven't seen a Decepticon in person, most likely, it's wide. It's super wide. It's a heavy boat. It's hard to push. And maybe that gives you guys some context for why the 150 quit, because as far as I can tell, that's all it was. It was unlucky, bad circumstances. We're moving on. Greener pastures, you guys. Castle ESCs will be coming for this boat. I've got Castle and almost everything else at this point. And I don't know about you guys, but I think it's kind of frustrating out there that there's really not a ton of great ESC options. I mean, the Sea King 180s are good. I don't like how they only have one cooling passage. They tend to run hot for me. The ZTWs all have that kind of soft start, which really bugs me. The Swordfish, I've heard mixed things. Some people really love them. I don't think I've ever ran one, But for me, when you get to that price point, it's pretty much Castle all the way. So what's crazy, here's an X8S with a stump fab cooler converted. And this thing will take, 350 amps. And this is a Raider 150. And the craziest part is, I feel like the Castle might even be lighter. It's smaller. Pretty much smaller. But 2, maybe 3 times the power handling, right? So I don't know. Maybe you can get one used. They're not cheap, but they are some of the best out there. So, yep, that's these two. Gonna get the smoke out of this one. I think a lot of the smell was just embedded in the noodles and everything in the boat. Slosh it around. Here's the canopy, how the canopy turned out. That's a nice little souvenir that's gonna stay. But the rest of this black is coming off. I can probably get that out. Gonna just go ham with the soap and water, you guys. And honestly, I'm pretty excited because we've got big things coming. We've got a big OSC order, motor, ESC, ESCs for that, props coming in to try, a new rudder for this boat, actually kind of like this. This is the rudder. It's basically 1.5 inches wide for Speedmaster, whereas this one would just be the standard inch. So trying to get a little more steering control at the back of this one. And new servo, stronger servo, working on that hook oversteer. So wider blade, stronger servo, new ESCs. Don't ask me why. Castle ESCs always seem to be faster. They seem to pick up speed. So, let's get right into it. Let's go ahead and test that motor. That way, if we get a smoke show, you guys are here for it. All right, not gonna lie, a little bit nervous for this one. Here's the bad side motor with the good side ESC on a 3S, just so that 3 beeps, armed, 3S, lower voltage, just so if something pops off, it's a little less volatile. And the only thing now is to give it a little throttle. That's maybe a quarter throttle. Nothing's warmed. No firecrackers going off. Full throttle on 3S. Okay, so motor's good. So it was not the motor going out and then taking the ESC out. It was just the ESC that decided to turn into firecrackers. But it's been a bit of a headache because this receiver out of the boat was working yesterday and evidently not today. So it'll bind, but the ESC is not picking it up as neutral, I guess. I even tried to recalibrate it. So I think this is toast. I think we took this out at some point somehow. That's from a different boat. It works, motor's good, and that's kind of where we'll leave this 150. I'm going to send it to a buddy, and he can run it. He likes them. And he's got boats that it'll work in. So I'm going to fill the boat up with water. If you guys enjoy building, if you guys want to get into boat building and doing more stuff like this, I got to say, probably one of the best tools in my entire garage has been this cordless Dremel. And you don't need a super nice cordless one. This thing's an absolute beast. It's the 8250 lithium. You don't need something this crazy, but the right angle attachment, super handy. And then just having something that you can cut flex cables with, that you can sand with, that you can get into tight spots with. This gets used more than anything else in my garage. It'll polish, it'll cut, it'll grind. I even do props with this carefully, but with this flap disc, you can put a nice edge on a prop pretty quick. And then, for the finer stuff, well, who am I kidding? I actually use this for everything. So yeah, definitely one of those. I'm going to take this flap disc. I'm going to sand all the epoxy off the bottom. That'll take about 0.3 seconds. Top as well. Going to re-epoxy that back in and sort out the electronic mess. New servo for the Decepticon. Mentioned that. And now just going to clean it, get it ready for some new electronics, and we're good to go. All right, guys, nothing too crazy here. We've got boat completely cleaned out, hot, soapy water. Not hot, lukewarm. And I don't think there's much technique here. Everything in this boat is waterproof and can get wet. So that'll do. I think I'm gonna throw the lid on really quick and violently shake it. Uh-oh, dripping water out the, of course, the stuffing tube. Should have known. Got the socks wet, no problem. And microfiber. I'm gonna basically wipe off the whole, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna take a microfiber. I'm gonna wipe down every surface inside the boat, top deck, everywhere I can reach. And not gonna use like a really aggressive brush. I don't want to scratch the inlay or anything else. But yeah, smells better already. Dawn dish soap, you guys, for the win. Clean it up. I'll get you guys on the next one where we're gonna put that front brace back in, throw some nice stuff in here, some nice ESCs. And thanks for hanging out. See you guys on the next one. Just a quick little follow-up. Basically threw the lid on and swirled this thing around like a big washing machine. And yeah, now I'm gonna take the, so you guys can see here, all the little cracks in here, couple right there. Not so bad though, could be a lot worse. Yeah, there's the washing machine. And I'm gonna dump it out and basically do one of these numbers, get all the soap out of it, and then leave it outside for a couple of days. Should be good as new. One last thing, you guys, super quick. When you leave your boat outside to dry, don't leave it out in the sun. I'm gonna dry this thing up and store it, but in the shade. So whatever you do, it'll mess with your paint. It'll kind of fade it. Keep the boat out of the sun unless you're running it. That's it. Later, guys.